How can one face an incurable disease with all the physical pain and agony involved? How can one face an incurable disease with all the physical pain and agony that's involved? There are different kinds of pain. Physical and psychological. Now, the psychological pain, the agony, the acute suffering, is that what one is concerned with, or the physical pain, a certain incurable disease like cancer? How do we meet this? There are various drugs and so on to alleviate physical pain. And one can put up with it. I'm sure most of us have experienced, in spite of the drugs, put up with certain forms of pain. When it becomes acute, then you do something, some kind of medicine, medical treatment. So, let us first look at the psychological pain, which may be psychosomatic. And what is pain inwardly? You answer, please. What is psychological grief, pain? Pain that's caused by many factors. Like one wants to fulfill, become, achieve, and there's the pain of all that. Right? There's the pain of being hurt, being wounded by another. And most of us are hurt from childhood. And we carry that hurt all our lives. That hurt brings about a resistance, right? Resistance in my relationship, because I don't want to be hurt anymore. So I build a wall around myself, isolate myself, and that creates more fear. So I live with this hurt and fear and resistance all my life. That's one of the hurts that most human beings have. Is it possible not to have the pain of hurt, you understand? Which is not to be hurt at all, psychologically. Right? What is it that is hurt? Look at it, please. Go into it yourself. When I say, I am hurt by what you have told me, what you have said, What is it that's hurt? The me, right? What is that? What is the me which is hurt? The thought which has created the image being myself. Right? Myself is not without the image. I wonder, right? I mean, many images. So, is it possible to live a daily life without the image which is me? Go into research. You understand my? The image is getting hurt. The image is causing pain. The image is created by thought through various incidents, accidents, and so on. That image, with all its complexity, isn't just an image, is hurt. The images have a conclusion. I have come to a conclusion. And I hold on to that conclusion. And any disturbance of that conclusion is pain. I believe, if I do, in God. And you come along and say, don't be absurd. Then that very verbal assertion has hurt, because I'm beginning to question. Or I may not question, but I'm hurt, because you say something very serious. So, as long as we have an image, as long as the process of thought, which is constantly creating the image and giving life to that image, there must be pain. Right? This is a fact. Then one asks, can that pain end? Which means, can one live in this life without any image? This is not an intellectual conundrum, puzzle. This is our life. I am British, or Indian, or whatever it is. And it's very important to hold to that image. Any slur on that image, I get violent. And pain follows, and so on. Can one live with a life without any image whatsoever? Right? You think it out. Now there is this psychological pain. If one understands the nature of this pain inwardly, therefore there is no image, and therefore there is no pain as we psychologically know it. Right? From there, let's move to the physical pain. Not from the physical to the psychological, but from the psychological to the physical. Right? We always are concerned with the physical pains. Right? Never inquiring into the psychological structure of pain inwardly. Right? We begin with the psychological, the psychosomatic states of mind and brain, and then inquire into the physical pain. We live such rotten lives smoke, drink, and all the rest of it. We are all the time corrupting the natural process of life, right? Polluting the air, waters, eating dead animals, right? Carcasses, and indulging ourselves in various forms of sensation, and taste becomes all important. So we are physically, we yield to all the things that seem so abnormal, right? And that may be, and perhaps is one of the causes of physical pain, which is disease and illness. We're not going to the question now what is disease and what is illness. We'll do that another time. Or you have an accident in a car. Wrong, or your leg is broken, and so on, so on. Can one look at all this pain, physical pain, if it isn't too acute, to observe it and remain with it for a while, as long as one can? You understand my question? Do we accept physical pain, or we're always trying to get rid of pain? If it is acute, naturally, we want to be free of pain. But can we observe pain not being identified with pain? You understand my question? Suppose I have a bad headache, migraine. Can I observe it, not identify myself with it? You understand my question? Or we say, my God, I've got such an awful headache, I must do something about it. Or, if it isn't too terrible, can one be free of all identification with that pain, right? Inquire into it, find out. So in all this, what is important is to approach life with intelligence. Now, what is intelligence? This is the problem, isn't it? Here is a problem. First problem was whether the brain can be kept fresh, young, active, clear. The second question is, can one bear pain, and so on. Now, in observing these two questions, the central factor comes out, which is intelligence. To approach life, which is pain, pleasure, anxiety, sorrow, and all the complexities of this life which man has made for himself, both outwardly and inwardly. The wars, the terrors, the terrorists, kidnapping, the brutality, the vulgarity, the coarseness, the whole of that, which is part of a life. Can one approach all this with real intelligence. So let's inquire, what is intelligence? Right? If you are not tired. Intelligence, the meaning of that word is to accumulate information and use it, collect a lot of information and use it so-called intelligently. Not according to your pleasure or pain. According to your bias, you have collected a lot of experience, knowledge, and employ that knowledge actively in life, intelligently. Right? That intelligence is not personal, because you accumulate a lot of information. You may identify yourself with that information as saying my information, but it's information. So, can you see that intelligence is not personal, is not the clever activity of thought, right? When we enter into the world of technology, there is a vast accumulation of experience, knowledge. A technician may use that tremendous accumulation and identify himself with that accumulation, with that knowledge, and says, I have done it, right? Or he uses that information, knowledge, to produce something. Like a scientist who has gathered a great deal of knowledge from previous scientists and uses and inquires further and is adding to that knowledge. But the moment he identifies himself with that knowledge as me, the great person who has, then that activity is not intelligent, right? Are you right? And intelligence is not the activity of thought. This is difficult to understand now. We are inquiring, not accepting my definition. You are not accepting my description and explanation of what is intelligence. We are seeing together what is intelligence, not my conclusion or your conclusion, right? Now, what is intelligence? Knowledge, thought is based on accumulated knowledge, right? Therefore, that knowledge will always be limited. There is no complete knowledge about anything. We must be clear on this point, right? About the universe, about science, about physics, there is no complete, total knowledge. They're always adding, right? So knowledge goes hand in hand with ignorance, right? Of course. I know you won't like that, but that's a fact. Right? So, knowledge being limited, thought must be limited. Right? That's so, it is limited. And whatever thought does cleverly, being limited is not complete intelligence, right? You following this? So, it is not the activity of thought bringing about clever perceptions, clever arguments, clever doctrinaire theories. That's not intelligence, right? So what is intelligence? We have negated what is not, right? Right, sir? We have said this is not it, this is not it, this is not it. Then what is? If you discard all this, what is not, which is also to see the false as the false, right? To see the truth in the false, right? Which is another form of discarding. So, if you discard all this, which includes time, right? Because accumulation of knowledge is time, right? Then what remains is intelligence, right? Now just a minute. I see something. I see I am vain, proud, arrogant. That is perceivable. Now, to take time to dissolve it, if one wants to, that is, I will take time not to be arrogant. Is that an intelligent action? Because I have allowed there time. I'm vain. I'll play with it for a while. I like it. I know it is absurd, but I like it. I carry on. And I hope someday it will end. Which is, I perceive, I'm aware that I'm vain, and I don't act immediately. The immediate action is intelligence. You understand this clear? When I allowed time to dissolve or put away my vanity, then the action is not intelligent. But to perceive and act immediately is intelligence, right? Which is not to allow time to come between the perception and action. Right? So you can go into this fact of what is intelligence. Right? Look at another factor in this. What is love? We all use that word very freely. What do we mean by that word? You can only find out the depth of that word, the depth of that feeling, the clarity, the intensity of it, only when you discover what it is not. Right? Right? It is not jealousy. Right? Would you agree to that? I love you. Do I? I love you. And I mean it. When I say I love you, I mean it. I love you. Has that love any motive? That is, the motive being, I love you because I sit on a platform and talk to you. I feel very satisfied. Very, the ugliness of it. I fulfill in that and so on, all that absurd stuff. So, when I say I love you, if there's a motive, it is not. Right? If there is jealousy, which is, I'm attached to you, I cling to you, it gives me a sense of power, position, a sense of the avoidance of loneliness. And when I say I love you, it means I'm attached to you. Is that love? Go on, sir, investigate it. Is attachment love? Obviously not. So, I have discovered jealousy is not, attachment is not. I perceive attachment. I'm attached. I won't take time to free myself from attachment. I see the consequences of attachment and end it immediately. That is intelligence. So, what are the factors which love is not? We say jealousy, attachment, and isolation. My ambition, my fulfillment. In fact, the whole movement of self-centered activity is not love. Right? So don't look so dazed. These are facts. So by negation, one discovers what it is. Not occasionally or rarely. And if it has gone into this deeply, there is that quality, that perfume, that intensity, the beauty of it. And with it comes compassion. I cannot be compassionate if I'm attached to any form of concept. If I love my God and say I'm compassionate, it's not compassion. So, love, compassion, intelligence go together. So can we approach this with this intelligence, this problem? Psychological pain and inward, psychological pain and physical pain. Not to get neurotic about it. Not to be constantly occupied with one's own pain, creating all kinds of psychological problems. Right? So, at the end of this conversation, is there this quality of intelligence? Is there this quality of intelligence which is love, which is compassion? Or merely clever argumentation, dialectical inquiry, opinion against opinion, idea against idea, which is conflict. One ideological group against another ideological group. The communist ideology and the totalitarian ideology and so-called democratic ideology. These two are in battle now. So, after this conversation together, is there this perfume, this quality of intelligence and compassion that is active?